Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Sophie's Corner, formerly known as Women's Wednesday. I was finding that I could not drop a video every Wednesday. I didn't want to rush these messages, I didn't want to rush the intention, and I feel like these episodes are meant to be marinated on and not rushed. They're to be used and applied. So again, welcome to the second episode called The Misuse and Abuse of the Feminine. My name is Sophire, and we're going to be talking about a lot of great, interesting topics as it relates to the misuse and abuse of the feminine. But before we jump into it, I did want to honor a beautiful soul. I wanted to honor Miss Tiana and her business called Flochias Soul. Flochias Soul represents a safe, diverse, holistic space dedicated to allowing others to engage in yoga. And I myself have had the beautiful pleasure of attending one of her classes. It was a very warm and intimate setting, although it was via Zoom and virtual. That did not keep us from skipping a beat. I loved it. It was very intimate, and I loved how Tiana encouraged us to go at our own pace instead of trying to, I guess, match others' yoga style or capabilities or stretches. Just really teaching us the importance of flowing at your own pace. So I would just love to, inform you guys of Flochias Soul, and I encourage you all to register for one of her classes as well. I have her Instagram name in the slide below. All right, moving on. We're going to be talking about a couple different topics. But before we jump into the agenda, I did want to allow space for a small disclosure. This video is going to be talking about some deep and sensitive topics, and I didn't want anybody to get the impression that I was pushing my views on them. Like I always say, take what you need and leave what you don't. If some of these messages do not resonate with you, you do not have to accept them as your own personal belief, and I don't encourage you to do so. This is my own truth, and this is my perception of the misuse and abuse of the feminine. So again, we're going to be talking about topics. We're going to touch a little bit in the beginning where God created man. We're going to touch on Eve's curse. We're going to talk a little bit about the downfall of the matriarchy. We're going to talk a lot about subconscious programming, because I feel like that has a lot to do with the why a lot of women are not walking into their divine feminine. As James Brown said, we're going to touch on how this is a man's world. And then we're going to close up by talking about duality and polarity, and as it relates to uplifting the divine feminine. So let's go ahead and get started. And I thank y'all for being here. Episode 2, the misuse and abuse of the feminine. All right. So in the beginning, God created man. This is a widely known verse or scripture in the Bible, and I do have here a direct quote from the Bible, and it reads, "To the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain, you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." And that is from the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16. Now, again, I'm not here to, what is the word? Interpret the word. That is not my job. I don't want that to be my job. But I will tell you how this scripture made me feel and how it's resonated with me. To me, it just kind of makes me feel as though, like, off the jump, we're kind of in not a good place. We're not in a good space. And it is because here I have the first picture. This is Eve. We all know Eve is one of the first, I guess, the first lady on earth. And she ate from the tree of life and gave it to Adam. And from there on out, I guess, as a people, we are cursed. We are going to be having certain unpleasant experiences because Eve did eat this apple. That just kind of didn't make sense to me, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just saying like how it resonated with me. This one woman ate this apple, and from here on out, I'm cursed, you're cursed, all the women, we're going to go through these things. And to me, bearing forth children, I don't want it to even be associated with the curse. I think it's a very beautiful thing. And I just take what I need and I leave what I don't. And some things resonate with me and some things don't. I'd also like to take it a step further, how, first God created Adam, and then, he took a piece from the rib, and then he created, God created Eve. And, I don't know about you, but, you know, just growing up, you hear commonly that, you know, we are the rib, we are the helpmate, we are the side. And that just also did not resonate with me to some extent. I am all for supporting men. I am all there. I am all about, you know, standing by your side, supporting you, you know, helping you get through whatever you need to, but I am not your helpmate, and I'm not born to be so. And that's just me. Another fact that also kind of like stirs with me is, you know, just looking at science and our chromosomal makeup. If you don't know, you know, men and women, we have two different chromosomal makeups involving the X and Y chromosome. Women, we have two big X's, and each big X carries, I think 1,098 linked genes. We have two X's, so that's about 2,000, maybe 200 genes. I'm not a mathematician, but whatever. And men, you know, you guys carry one big X and a small Y, and each Y carries 26 genes. Almost didn't get it out there. So, that's just simple math right there. So, you know, I'm nobody's helpmate. I carry the dominant gene, period. But that's just me. Y'all do not have to accept that as your belief. That's me. Okay, I just think we just, you know, starting off, you know, talking even about biblical times, you know, we just were not started off in an empowered state as a woman. So off the gate, you have a couple of strikes against you. One, you listened to the deceiver and you gave your man the apple, and it messed both of y'all up. It messed everybody up. So Eve, that's on you. I'm pretty sure we all are familiar with the Eve's curse. I like to call it the curse, Eve's curse, what have you. So that's my take on how we kind of got started off on the wrong foot as it pertains to divine feminine. Here with the next slide are a couple of pictures from the dynasty, couple of great dynasties or eras, what have you. This slide is called Her Story, Power in the Feminine. So this is a fact. So before the Bible and before Christ, there were ways of living that seemed very balanced, very intellectual, you know. And here I have a couple of pictures of great woman figures in Egypt. And I just want us to kind of take note to some of these pictures. You know, we have here tall, monumental statues here. So for a woman to have that size of a statue sitting right next to the man, that ought to tell you a lot about the balance of things and how it pertains to their roles. It seems like perhaps they had a very balanced way of living, balanced roles, power in their role without discrimination based on gender. A long time ago, women were able to hold the same status as men, you know, just depending on how much money you had, but not based on your gender. We were able to hold a lot of different roles, very important roles. We served next to one of the, you know, the pharaohs, the high-ranking people. You know, I just feel like as though, you know, something very evil happened in the course of time for women to be on such a high pedestal like we have here in this slide, and then for us to just, now we're down here. And I will refer to us as being down here throughout this video. Women's status in Egypt was incredibly advanced for any world time in history, including the present. So, ladies, at one point we were way up here, you know, highly revered, highly, you know, we weren't less than, we weren't the helpmates. We were idolized and respected. So, you know, these women walked in their power. They knew their role and they knew their strength. So that's where we need to be headed today, in my opinion. So yeah, we've come a long way. It's a big difference in the role in women and how we view ourselves. So let's keep on going. Let me check my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah, I think that was it. I think that's all I really wanted to to say during that slide. Okay, next. Okay, now we're going to get into the subconscious programming, because we have been programmed to think a lot of things that are natural or right and feels right really isn't. During the course of my journey, I'm learning that a lot of things that I grew up knowing just weren't helping me walk into my divine feminine power. Now, I don't lose my foundation. I don't lose how I was brought up, because I was brought up to be, you know, a good woman. But through subconscious programming, I may have lost my way. I may have lost my way on my own, but whatever. We ain't got to get into that. But it's a lot of subconscious programming going on out there that's allowing women to not be able to walk through their power. So let's take a look at a lot of these. All right, first we have the media and advertising. Radio, music, television, social media. It's everywhere. You can't really even get in your car or cut on your TV without seeing some type of misuse or abuse of the feminine. And it gets deep, and it's such a deep form of subconscious programming. When we view it, it doesn't even feel like subconscious programming. It feels like regular. It feels like the normal. But once you start seeing what's really divine feminine, you'll say like, oh, that's a form of programming. That's not cool, you know. And I don't want y'all to think that I'm looking too deep into stuff, because this stuff is deep, y'all. I'm telling y'all. It's multi-layered. It's there. So, okay, one example I want to say is let's look at advertising. For an example, let's look at our homegirl, our auntie, Pine Sol lady. You know, the black lady who's fresh and clean. You know, she's the Pine Sol lady, and you know, we've been knowing her for a long time, and she does do a good job at working them floors and using the Pine Sol or what have you. But a lot of times we see a lot of advertising for these products based off of gender. And you know, in my eyes, that these gender type advertisements are, you know, affirming a certain role or a box that a lot of women should fit in, like the nurturer, the cleaner, the wife, you know, what have you. Now, I know you're probably thinking like, Sophia, there's a lot of men in commercials that you know, advertise cleaning supplies. But let's take a look at Mr. Clean, Bounty, Brawny. All of those products are representing strength from a man. So that's subconsciously programming us that Bounty, strong, Mr. Clean, bald-headed, strong man. Man represents strength. Women, maybe not as much as men. Now, how many times, like, you know, I'm the helpmate, but I'm carrying most of the weight. I know a lot of women that are carrying most of the weight and that are so strong. But as growing up and, you know, even into adulthood, we don't have a lot of information being fed into our brains that is affirming our strength. Except we have commercials and advertisements affirming things such as, oh, you're nurturing, you're a cleaner, you're a wifey, or what have you. We're gonna continue getting into it. Commercials. You see a lot of women being portrayed in these roles in commercials that are programming our minds to make you think that, you know, I have to use my body a certain type of way. I have got to dress a certain type of way in order to be successful in these areas. And that is not the truth. You know, once you start walking into your power and your feminine, you will start realizing I ain't got to do none of that. And I damn sure ain't got to put up with none of that, all of that extra stuff that make you think that you got to do this and be like that to get to where you going. Nah. I got that stuff. Social media. Oh, wow. Now, I am definitely coming from a place of non-bias. If anybody knows me, knows that I'm a Cardi B fan. I'm with all the hot girls. I'm with all of it. You know, to an extent. You know what I'm talking about? You know, part of me, I like that. I like that kind of stuff. But also, there's another part of me, the divine feminine, that knows that, you know, music and ideas and, you know, videos and images like that, they're kind of working counterclockwise in the direction that divine feminine is headed. You get on social media and you see a lot of women that have these bodies that some of us just can't get unless we buy it. You like me, baby. I ain't built like that. But, and if you're like me, and if you got a regular body, when you're constantly being fed the image of this idea, I'm speaking for me, you just start to dislike yourself. You start to dislike the natural you, because you already have this idea in my mind of what's popular, what's hot, what's not. You know, you cut on the radio and you hear music that's it don't make you feel good about being a woman. It don't make you feel good about being skinny. This is for the skinny girls. I don't know how everybody else look or feel. But you know, it's just not a lot of music or advertising or media out there that is affirming divine feminine. You will start to pick this stuff the more you walk into your feminine. I promise you. You will come on social media and be like, what am I looking at? What's going on? Baby, I love the body yaddy. I'm with the body yaddy yaddy. You know what I'm saying? But you pick up this momentum and you pick. I'm all for women empowerment. I just can't explain it. I can't explain it. I'm for the body yaddy yaddy, but I'm not for the body yaddy yaddy being misused and abused and exploited. And that's, you know, you might drop a song or you might drop a video with good intentions, but it just kind of snowballs into something else. I did an experiment when I've been, you know, meditating and, you know, working on this video. I like to really go in depth with the experiences, like to go in depth with the knowledge and information so that I can deliver this message, especially for you, just special. So my first experiment, or one of my first experiments was getting in the car and just kind of tuning in as to what my brain is being fed. And I heard the baby, I heard Lil Baby. I like Lil Baby a lot. He cool, you know, he ain't really pushing nothing too crazy. But you know, then Moneybag came on, and then a couple of hot girl songs came on, and I was like, ooh, these songs are so sexual. You know, I just couldn't escape it. It's very sexual. And even as far as politics go, women are so, we're behind. You know, I am happy for Vice President, or soon to be Kamala Harris. And you know, I'm glad that she's walking in her power, and she's encouraging a lot of other women to walk in her power. But it's 2020. Why are we just now getting to this point? And again, comparison to the matriarchal way, you know, when women were highly revered in India and Egypt and, you know, the ancient days, compared to now, we're just now being able to have a voice and a vote in, you know, political matters that affect our community. That don't sit right with me. So again, let's do a better job at walking in our feminine. You know, walking like a top. This slide right here. It's I know you're wondering like why I got the word porn on it and what porn has to do with this, but it has a lot to do with it. So the effects of porn. These are some questions that I got while I was, you know, letting this message sit on me. You know, is this true sex? Is sex desensitized? Is this true pleasure, or am I being programmed to think that this is pleasure? Who is my partner? Am I enjoying this? Are you connected during sex? How does your trauma affect your sexual experiences? And are we modeling after porn? So these are all the questions that I kind of got while I was focusing in on this topic of porn. So, okay. The misuse and abuse of sex, that's a whole other topic. It ties so deeply into the misuse of the feminine. How? Because when you're programmed, when you're not truly brought up to know the purpose of sex, and you have, you know, your friends and maybe some porn and maybe some social media and maybe some other type of media to kind of show you how this goes, I can tell you that you ain't gonna go far. It's desensitized. You know, the more I'm walking into my divine feminine, I know that, you know, I'm knowing that sex is a more sacred, you know, valued thing than what is being pushed in the media. Is this true sex? You know, or am I just going to Pound Town? Am I just doing this to get my mind off of something? And yes, I did say Pound Town. Is this true pleasure or programming? You know, when we're watching porn, you're thinking that you have to flow a certain type of way, or you gotta do a certain type of way, you gotta like a certain type of thing. You know, you're modeling off of porn. You know, you're not actually sitting time to know yourself, know your partner, connect with yourself. You know, are you connecting with yourself first? I'm for real. Are you connecting with yourself first? And if you're not connecting with yourself, how are you consciously engaging in this sexual activity? Are you loving yourself? You know, what are you getting out of this experience? It's a lot. Are you connected during sex? Are you? You know, are you connected with your partner, or are you ladies, are you just getting the beat down? Because, oh my gosh, I don't want to get too graphic in here. You know, and how is your trauma? How is your built up traumas? If you've endured any, how is that affecting your sexual experience? And are your sexual experiences adding on to the trauma? You know, is this pleasing to your soul? How do you feel about yourself after this encounter? How do you feel about, you know, because with porn, you know, you're making things go by so fast. You're getting to a goal. You know what I'm saying? You're not connecting because you're rushing. This has a lot to do with the misuse and abuse of the feminine. You know, have y'all seen some of the categories on these porn websites? Whew. Next slide. I think I've said enough. This is a man's world. Yes. You know, men say it. Like, they don't have no problem saying that this is a man's world. And they accept that to be true. Like, it's so many things that we accept to be true that affect our being able to walk into this power of divine feminine. You know, you're being told that this is a man's world, so you're going to automatically program into your mind, here's the man and here's me. You hear it in songs. And I know what y'all thinking, you know, oh, women have these songs too, you know, but that just started. Women just started, you know, being able to walk into their, I guess, you know, empowered self. But is it divine feminine? Not so much. And I'm talking about hot girl stuff and real hot girl shit and city girl. I'm talking about, you know, those type of things. Are you walking into your empowered self? Probably. But are you walking into your empowered divine feminine self? I don't think so. Duality and polarity. So this is really the goal here. This is really the objective. And why it's important to uplift the feminine. This is exactly why it's important to uplift the feminine. Duality and polarity. So here on this slide it says, according to the law of polarity, masculine and feminine energies are not based on gender. Any person, male or female, can embody either energy. So for example, masculine energy looks like doing. It looks like mission driven, problem solving, very up and down, black and white type ways of doing. Now when you're into the feminine energy, it's flow, it's creation, it's creativity, it's love, it's nurturing, it's all that in a bag of chips. And now I'm not saying neither one is better than the other, because you have got to have both. You have got to have a balance of both. This says feminine feels more open and free, ready to give and receive love. Feminine energies want to be noticed and understood, and their loving nature can make them stay too long in relationships. So again, you can refer back to episode 1, basics and introduction to Shakti and how to walk more into this feminine energy. So this is the last slide. Uplifting the divine feminine. It is important. It is everybody's job to uplift the feminine. Okay? Women, it is very important that you uplift yourself, because the more uplifted, empowered feminine we have, it's going to literally balance out the earth. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's going to balance out the earth. We don't have a good sense of duality and polarity on this earth right now. So that is why it's so important that us as women begin to learn and walk into our empowered divine feminine self. And you know, this series will talk more about how you can start doing so. It's not hard. All you have to do is say, I want to be a better woman, and you know, you just start looking up some stuff and you start going down a rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're in your divine feminine. You're walking it, or you're learning different ways to be able to walk into that power. So women and men, it is all of our jobs to uplift the feminine. Okay? We're down here, y'all. We're down here, but we are making our way up. So, you know, whenever you cut on that TV or you cut on that radio or you get on your phone, you know, start to be more aware of what looks like subconscious programming and versus what starts to look like divine feminine energy. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. So I thank you all so much for being here and spending these several minutes with me. This has been a really good episode, and I hope that it touched on a lot of points, and I hope it was able to reach many of you. So yes, be forward. Be sure to look out for the next episode of Sophie's Corner. We're going to be talking about self-love practices, rituals, and patterns. Be sure to check out pH Kitty, my line of boric acid vaginal suppositories used to treat bacterial and yeast infections along with pH imbalance. The link is below.